Good evening and welcome, families, parents, guardians, caregivers, to the Brightspace Parent Info Night with Thames Valley District School Board with the Learning Technologies team. We hope that you heard music playing during the meeting. If not, please try leaving the meeting and rejoining to see if your sound has been resolved. And for those requiring closed captioning, instructions are available at the link at the bottom of this slide. If you can remember, it is bit.ly/tvdsb closed captions. All one word, all lowercase. bit.ly/tvdsb closed captions. And I'll hand it over to our superintendent, Ms. Sheila Powell, for introductions.
Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you this evening to our Brightspace, our platform session for our parents who have students enrolled in the full remote learning program. This session will hopefully address some questions you might have and provide you some information about Brightspace for both our parents of elementary students and secondary as well. It is a pleasure to introduce our team, which I will do in just a minute, but I also want to share some quick tips for you. We do have a question and answer feature, and we do encourage you to post questions. We will do our best to answer as many as we possibly can this evening. We do have 430 plus participants this evening, which is amazing. So we may not get to every question, but we'll try to group them as best we can. We do encourage you throughout the year to reach out to our full remote learning administrators and teachers, many of whom are in the audience as participants this evening, so that we can support you with whatever question you may have at any point. Also in the audience this evening is Sheila Builder, also a superintendent who works very closely with our full remote learning team as well. At this point, I will be sharing some information about our presentation team. So we do have an amazing team who works within learning technologies. We have Laura Briscoe, who's our innovation learning coordinator, Deanna Kerwin, who's our key contact for many things that are Brightspace. Andrew McGuinn is a learning technologies coordinator working in a range of areas, as is the voice you heard at the very beginning of our session, Graham Plant, also a learning technologies coordinator. We have Danica Tipping, who is our Brightspace teacher on special assignment, and Emily Sichart, our learning technologies coordinator as well. We do have a number of people behind the scenes this evening who I will thank as well, for whom this presentation could not happen without their technical IT expertise. At this point, we will also be sharing some overview of the agenda, and that will be led by Melanie Stanley. And Melanie is probably the very first person that should be introduced, as she is the leader of this amazing team. Melanie is our system principal with responsibility for information technology. The agenda is here, but Melanie, I think, will take us a little bit through that as she provides some further information about this evening and gets us started. So thanks so much, Melanie, to your leadership, and we will turn it over to you.
So welcome, everyone. You can see the agenda in front of you, and we have a packed agenda. Excited to take you through the items you can see in front of you. So I have the pleasure of being the system principal who works with all the people you saw earlier with their Bitmojis. But I also have responsibilities for traditional e-learning. And the key difference between traditional e-learning and full remote learning centers on the difference between two terms. I can hear the anticipation building. What are these two terms? Term one is synchronous. This is learning where the teacher is available at the same time as the students. Synchronous learning is the type of learning offered in full remote. Term two is asynchronous. This is learning where the teacher and student are not necessarily available for communication around learning at the same time. This is traditional e-learning. The ministry has outlined for boards the specific minutes of synchronous learning for students in full remote. Your child will be expected to have synchronous learning experiences for one of two potentials. If your child is in kindergarten, it will be 180 minutes. If your child is in an older grade than kindergarten, it will be for 225 minutes. Let's explore the term mentioned earlier, synchronous. Synchronous learning means teacher is available online for direct support of the child during the daily identified learning time. However, synchronous time can also include students working independently away from the computer on a teacher-assigned task during the identified minutes in which synchronous learning is to happen. Having reviewed the definition of synchronous learning, it's now time to see the great features of the virtual platform that your child and their teacher are using. Dee Kerwin, our TELT C and resident Brightspace expert, is going to demonstrate this for you now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Melanie. I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully everyone sees my browser. So Brightspace is web hosted, which means we can access it from a variety of devices. I've seen some questions coming in about will a Chromebook work? Will an iPad work? Will a PC work? All of the above. So you can access Brightspace from a variety of devices. And you're just going to go to our URL. I'm on our board website to start, and I'm going to do tvdsb.ca/Brightspace. And I encourage everyone to bookmark this tab because it's one we're going to visit quite often for the remainder of the year. Once I'm in here, it's going to take me to our login page, and I'm going to zoom in and make this a little bit bigger for everyone. And there's instructions right here for how to log in. So staff and students will log in through the first area. Notice that there's a second button here that's for a parent, guest, out of board student login. At this time, our parent login is disabled, and we're encouraging our families to log in alongside their child using the student credentials. If you forget how to do that, the instructions are here in terms of the username and then the student number as the password. I'm going to click on that button. Because I log in pretty regularly, it's going to give me a pass-through, but you will go through that process as needed, and eventually it will give you that pass-through as well if it's a regular routine item. Once I've logged in, this is going to be the Brightspace landing page, and this is sort of like walking into the board or walking into the school building itself. So there's a few different tools that are here to help you before you even walk into the classroom. Up top here, we've got a couple things in this student link. There might be some helpful things, a French language toolkit, a link to a Google Drive, the virtual library learning commons that we're going to go through a little bit later this evening, and a few other helpful tools along the way. We also have a support link. So this is an area where you can get more help after this evening. If you get stuck on something in Brightspace, this links to a great tutorial website, and this links to the help desk, and this will link to some support documents if you'd prefer to read them. The other thing that's here for you to start into is an online tutorial. I'm going to click on this one, and it opens a little bit of an interactive dashboard to learn about some of the different tools in Brightspace. So there's a section all about handing in assignments, a section about how to complete maybe a quiz, and different activities that you can work through. Again, very interactive, lots of information, and little videos embedded along the way. If I go back here, you'll notice this is also where we post big announcements. So we had shared today that we would be having the parent night, and the meeting link is right there. So lots of different ways for us to communicate when there's really important things that can go to the entire board. We've also got access to your courses here. So in this case, as an educator with the board, I've got access to a few different ones. This is the one specifically we're going to work in this evening, and this is a great way to get to your child's course. Another one I want to draw everyone's attention to is this Google Apps link. And this marries two tools together. So one of the really great features about Brightspace is it has the ability to work with other tools that the board provides, for example, the entire Google suite. So we can marry our Google account to our Brightspace account. It will pick up our credentials, and I'm just going to authorize my accounts to work together. Once I do that, I'm going to have seamless access to my Google account and really streamline the work that your child is doing throughout the course. Both educators and students have the option to work right from their Google Drive within the Brightspace platform. A couple other notable areas. There's an internal email feature built in. So if a little orange dot is appearing, you might have a new email from your educator. So this is a great place to access it, and you can email your educator right within here if that is a tool they're using with the class. There's also the option here, this is where some notifications will occur and some messages that are coming out. So some great tools to just check on, and don't quick run past this page. There's often important information that's housed. We refer to this icon up here as the waffle icon, and this icon houses all of the courses your child is enrolled in. Likely as an elementary student, just one course, and as a secondary student, there may be 2 at a time, or if we were running a semestered year, there might be up to 4. I'm going to show you that there are remote learning parent demo courses there, just the same as it is here. Both of these ways will take you to your course. I'm going to jump into the course, and here's a little bit of a different screen. This is now the idea of walking into the actual classroom space. Just like a teacher can decorate their classroom space in a building, a teacher can rearrange and decorate their Brightspace virtual learning space. With this in mind, a few things will always stay the same. These tools along the top, in terms of having the overview, this will always return you home. This will always tell you where you are. That waffle stays the same as do those emails. This is what we refer to as the nav bar. So the teacher might direct you to click on a link from the nav bar. A few standard tools that you'll see, the content tool, where a lot of the classwork and upcoming activities or information about learning might be stored, similar to the teacher binder where they're sharing resources. The assignments tool, where things are going to be handed in. The discussions tool, where students can engage in conversations with one another and interact. The Google Meet tool, which is where our synchronous learning is occurring. The Virtual Library Learning Commons is a great tool that Andrew is going to walk through this evening, as well as a few other items. So please know that these may look different on your course, but all live in the nav bar and are helpful tools for navigating and participating in the learning. Again, lots of announcements posted here. So we've posted this one to make sure we had lots of people joining us this evening. We've posted some other helpful resources. Your child's educator might post things that are helpful to their course specifically. For example, for this course, we've got a Google Meet synchronous nickname set up that Graham's going to walk you through the process of this evening. The activity feed is a tool that many educators use. One of the nice features about it is you can comment and engage in a conversation right on the homepage. So for example, we've got a little welcome message there, and maybe when one of our other colleagues is demonstrating tonight, they'll participate in this and show how that works. As I scroll down, I'll see that there's a week at a glance. So this is something that's been posted to help me as the learner understand what information I need to be working through. There's a outline of the daily structure, and these ones, if I hover over, I'll notice are hyperlinked. This will make navigating for your child really easy. All they have to do is click on this activity, and it's going to send them in Brightspace right where they need to go. This is true for accessing content and possibly even handing in work. Again, every educator might do things a little bit differently, but keep an eye out for some of these items that will help you along the way. As time goes on, these announcements will recycle or push to the bottom, and new things should always be posted at the top for you to keep an eye out for. I'm going to turn it over to Graham Plant, who's going to take us through a quick demo of what a synchronous learning time in a Google Meet might look like.
Thank you so much, Dee. I'm just going to on screen ready here, and I'll be sharing. All right. So I'm enrolled in this class as a student. I can access the Google Meet tool for synchronous learning that Dee mentioned before in one of 3 ways. So the link in the nav bar in Brightspace is just one of the ways your student can access Google Meet. You can also type in the URL meet.google.com, or they can go to google.ca and find it from the 9.app drawer in the top right. And then, of course, the app is available on iOS and Android devices as well. So I see that my teachers has provided the Google Meet nickname for today's session. It's Parent Info Night. That nickname is unique to our class in this case. It might be different for small group instruction, and it might change from time to time depending on the teacher's discretion, but that is entirely up to your child's teacher. This unique nickname ensures proper security in the Google Meet tool. That way, your child can only enter a Google Meet meeting while a staff member is present to begin and open the meeting. And then they are not able to join another meeting unless another teacher has opened up the next one. So I have one option here in Google Meet. It's very simple. I can use a meeting code. So my teacher provided a non-case sensitive link, parent info night. And this might happen sometimes where maybe you're just a few minutes early, or you're just a few minutes early for a synchronous learning time. It says this meeting hasn't started yet. Not to worry, this is intentional on our part today to show you what it looks like when the teacher has not yet begun that particular meeting. And if you are doing this for the first time on a Chromebook, for example, or a Windows device or a Mac, Google Chrome might ask to use your microphone and camera in this little pop-up window here, and that is necessary for using your microphone and camera in the meeting itself. So I'll try that again. Maybe I was a bit early, so I'll put in that code to see if I can join again. Parent info night. As you can see, I'm in a waiting room of sorts here, and I always have the option to turn off my microphone and camera first before joining the meeting. We recommend this, and so do our administrators, and so do our teachers for full remote learning, because it's polite to enter the room without background noise or anything like that. Just to give you a quick overview of how this looks. So you have the option to turn on your microphone or turn it off. You have the option to turn on your camera, turn it off here, and leave the call when the session is over. As an individual user or participant, you have the option to turn on closed captions for the meeting. So that just whoever is speaking in the meeting has the ability to see what the other person is saying for those with audibly impaired or hard of hearing. And then the option to present now offers three options. So this is what the teacher would use to share content, for example. And then at times, the teacher may ask a student or students to share their own work or their own screen in that way. So the 3 options here are your entire screen, which means the entire desktop window of that device. A window, which is a particular application on that desktop. So it could be Spot, whether if it's Minecraft, Windows Explorer, Chrome, individual applications. And then a Chrome tab is the one and only option for sharing multimedia. So that includes audio and video, and that would be presented on one single Chrome tab. There might be issues sometimes troubleshooting a camera not working, for example, or a microphone not working, for example, and those can be tested and switched around and checked in the settings gear icon right here in the 3-dot menu on the bottom right. So you're able to choose your device here, also test them to make sure they're working properly, and same thing with your video as well. And then if internet connection is an issue, This can be manually upgraded or downgraded depending on your own internet connection at your own house. Going up to the top here, you can show all the participants in the meeting today, and you're also able to see the text chat there as well, which is just literally that. A simple text chat for quick messages while the meeting is occurring. And then in terms of the view, you're also able to change layout. So there's an automatic layout which changes dynamically based on what's happening in the meeting. There is a sidebar option, which means that whoever is presenting or speaking at the time will be sort of shown in the middle with a tiled view on the side of up to 5 participants or 4 participants there. There is a spotlight feature which shows just the content or the person who is speaking or being shared. And then finally, a tiled view to see all participants. At this time, the tiled view supports 16 participants at one time in one view, but future updates will show that up to 49 participants come later this fall. And finally, you're able to change your view to pin yourself or show your tile in the view as well. And that would be an overview of the Google Meet platform. If your child experiences any issues with Google Meet, we encourage you to reach out to your child's teacher first. And if you are accessing Google Meet via a mobile app, please ensure that you download it on an iOS or Android device. And wish you best of luck with Google Meet, and we hope that it's a sound platform for you. Thanks so much. I'm passing it over now to Emily Shearhart to show you assignments in Brightspace.
Thanks, Grant. Excuse me. Welcome, everyone. So I'm going to share my screen now and show you what a student perspective will look like in that Brightspace classroom. So first of all, I'm going to log in. And one thing that you'll notice up in the top right-hand corner, we encourage everyone to use a Chrome browser whenever possible. Sometimes students have been having issues logging in or joining the Google Meet because the account that is linked to the Chrome browser is not that of a Thames Valley student. And if it's not a Thames Valley student, so if it's not a GoTV DSB account, you will be unable to join the Google Meet. That is for everyone's security. So if you're having difficulties with that, we do have support that we can send your way. Please reach out to your classroom teacher. They can also help you. So I am enrolled in this classroom where Dee is here as our teacher. So I'm logged in as a student in this course. And so when I log in, just like Dee already mentioned, I can see the announcements, I can see the activity feed, and I might choose to comment. So share one thing I learned by commenting below. So there's my response, and I'm going to post it. So now I'm going to go back home. So when I log in, I can see right away what I have waiting for me. 10 discussion posts that I haven't looked at yet. I have one assignment with unread feedback. So that means that my educator has gone in and provided me with feedback on an assignment that I have submitted. So I'm going to start there. And when I click on the link, it's going to take me to the assignments tab. I can also access it up here from the nav bar. The great thing about the assignments tab is it shows you what all your student needs to complete. So when I look down, I have not submitted. I've submitted something here, but my educator hasn't looked at it. Haven't submitted this yet, but I did submit my writing prompt, and there is my feedback. When I click on unread, it will open. So we read Paper Bag Princess, and I had to give 3 reasons why Elizabeth is brave. Note that this asked for a text-only submission, so I had typed in my 3 reasons right there. And right away, I can see my feedback up here from Miss Kerwin, You've shown a really great understanding of what it means to be brave. Elizabeth shows a lot of these traits. Awesome job. I can also see when I received that feedback. So that's a great way to be in regular ongoing communication with your with the teacher and the student. So if I go back to my course, remember that every teacher is going to set up their course differently. They're hopefully going to set it up in a way that will be easiest for the students to navigate. So I know that when I look at the week at a glance, I can see that there are links here because that's how it was set up. So when I click on lesson 3, it's going to take me right away into my math assignment. So I can see that I have a YouTube video here to watch about how to multiply, and I have an attachment here to complete my work. So when I click on the link, this is something that we've been working with staff on setting up their assignments this way. You might see this when you click on a link. It is asking me to please make a copy of this document before I'm able to work on it. So I'm going to make a copy and it will open up. So now I can complete all of my work. We suggest that you, because you've made a copy, go in and change the name on the document to your child's name. That way it's easy to organize everything. So I can go in now and complete this work. One apple a day, 7 days a week. 7 apples a week. 7 apples times 6 weeks equals 42 apples. So I can then go back to my assignment, and I have lots of options as to how I submit that. Sometimes teachers will specify what they would like for submission of an assignment. Sometimes they will ask for a file to be included, and I can do that right here. So I'm going to add a file. I've already linked my Google Drive to my Brightspace account, so it will take me into my Google Drive in 1 second. And here's the really cool thing. It knows what documents I've been working on recently, and so there's that most recent one. I simply click on it, add it, and right away it's been attached that I can submit it. I can also submit a text response here if I would like. I can also record audio if I would like, or I can record a video, and I'll show you that in another assignment, and then I'm going to submit it. So it shows when I submitted the assignment. I can go back, I can upload more files. Sometimes teachers know that you'd like to submit more than one file at a time, so that is also an option. So if I go back to my other assignments, I'm going to try and complete this really quickly. And when I go to submit, I'm getting an error message because the teacher has asked me to add in a file. So if I haven't followed the instructions, it's going to prompt me to that before I can even get started. Okay. I also have to make a short video, so now I can make that video. Hi everyone, I attended Banting for 3 years prior to participating in full remote learning. And now I'm going to add that video in. I can give it a title if I would like. I could give a description, and then I'm going to add it, and it will upload that file right there. And now I can submit my assignment. So again, it was successful because I included a file like my teacher asked. So the other feature that I'm going to talk about tonight is the discussions tab. So just like in a regular classroom, students participate in class discussions. And so as the teacher, they can set different topics. So here we have one about my favorite animal, and you can see that it was started with a video prompt. I can answer this one. What are you reading? So I can log in and see my classmates' posts. So I have a classmate named Justin who posted about Harry Potter, and then another classmate named Ellen who wrote about reading her own book called Seriously, I'm Kidding. So I'm going to start now a new thread. Typically, the discussion tab is set up in a way that students need to post their own response prior to being able to comment on a classmate's post. I am in the midst of reading Hunger Games. I could continue. Oh, I have to talk about what I like. I'm not that far, so I don't have many details. And so again, I can add attachments. I can add in a video response if I would like, but I am ready to post that. So because mine is the most recent, now it will appear at the top. And now I can go in and look at what Ellen posted. So Ellen posted a picture, and now because I have commented, so now you'll see that I've commented, as has our classmate Scott. So I'm going to pass it now back to Dee to share about portfolio.
Thanks, Emily. So jumping into another tool, so we've looked at handing in things through the assignments tool, engaging and participating in the discussions using that tool. One of the other tools that's really neat and goes alongside with Brightspace, and we sort of refer to it as an app that goes with Brightspace because you can download it on an iOS or Android device, is the Brightspace Portfolio. And anytime you're online and you want to check out what's happening in your portfolio, you'll click on the name. So your child's name will be here, and you can view your portfolio. And the reason the portfolio is attached to the name is because that stays with your child K to 12, and it's a really nice curated portfolio of all of their learning over time. So if we jump into my portfolio, it's going to load up, and this is an example of showing all those different courses. So as somebody who's been enrolled in many courses over the years, it's going to show me lots of different options, but the portfolio I want to look at today is the remote learning parent demo. So I'm going to look at that one, and I can see that I've actually got some items in my portfolio, and you're probably wondering how they got here. So I'm going to show you a kind of a demonstration of this app itself. So our portfolio tool looks something like this, and you can, like I mentioned, download it on a tablet or on a phone or an iOS or Android device, and it's symbolized by this little leaf app, this little colorful leaf. So if you look up Brightspace, you'll find two apps. One is Pulse, one is Portfolio, and this is all about the Portfolio app. I'm going to try to demo this. So when you open it up on your device, it's going to give you a couple options. Because this is a device at home, you're going to choose My Device, and you're going to type in the box tvdsb.ca/elearningontario. Your teacher will share that out, and what will happen is it'll take you to the login page, just like our Thames Valley login page, and you'll use the exact same credentials to get in. Once you're in, it will be a one-time thing and it'll stay logged in onto your device. Once you are there, it'll always open from then on just in your camera. And it opens in your camera because this tool is brilliant for being able to capture learning that's happening in maybe a non-traditional format. So this is obviously going to capture a photo of the student's dog, but it might be a photo of some math work that was done on a whiteboard. It might be something that you're making in the kitchen. It might be an art project. It might be documenting a scavenger hunt that was going on outside. So lots of different things that can be documented. And what's really neat about it is it can be captured by taking a photo, taking a video, or pulling something off the camera roll that was captured earlier in the day. So it doesn't have to be done in the moment. Once it's captured, it's going to take you to the next screen. And that lets you interact with that item a little bit. So now we're going to go back onto that item, click in, and we have a few choices. We can title our item. So I think we're going to add a title with the doggo's name here. And it gives a really neat option to actually add a reflection about it. So clicking that little microphone tool allows the student to talk about that item. So they can share what it is about that dog and why it's an important piece to their learning. They could explain the activities they went on, or they could explain how they solved a math problem, or they could even just talk about the story they're reading. So maybe it's a recording of them reading something aloud. Once that's done, you're going to save it to the actual portfolio. So it would give the option for the child to save it to their portfolio, and then they're all done, and it gives you the option to go back and collect more, or actually view the portfolio right within the app itself. So the portfolio can always be accessed on the web right from the Brightspace platform, but evidence is really easily collected using that app on a phone or on a tablet. I'm going to jump back to that course and show you an example of a couple items that I collected earlier. So once those items are collected, they go straight to the teacher. They might not appear in your portfolio right away. So don't panic that it's lost. Don't panic that your teacher hasn't got it. It's essentially like handing it into them, and it gives them some time to take a look, add feedback, connect to some curriculum expectations, and see what it is that your child's been working on. Then once they've done that, they can approve those items and send them to the portfolio so you can get the feedback and see the pieces that came back. So here's an example of a couple whiteboard items that were submitted. And this toggle here shows me that there's been some feedback left by my teacher. If I jump into this, I can see that my teacher left me some feedback and then asked me actually and challenged my thinking a little bit further. So there's a prompt there. I didn't add a title to this one, but I can see that there's an audio recording. So my teacher listened to that and understood how I solved this problem. So it's a really neat way to be able to explain your thinking, even when we're working in our digital classrooms. Another example here, again, understanding shows how I was assessed, and then it also links in with that audio recording. So another neat way, alongside what Emily already showed in terms of submitting documents to the assignments tool, engaging in a discussion this way, or getting to my portfolio from clicking on my name and viewing the portfolio that's attached to my course. I'm going to turn it over to Andrew, who's going to jump into our VLLC and show us another really great resource that can be accessed for digital learning.
Great, I'm just going to share my screen here. Here we go. So the VLLC is the Virtual Library Learning Commons, and this is in a way like a virtual library space for students to access. So it's been around for 6-7 years and is often used at home when students are doing work and research and things like that. But during our full remote learning, it's really bumped up as a great place for teachers and students to be getting resources. So as Dee showed earlier, in Brightspace, there were several different places you could link out to the Virtual Library Learning Commons. What I want to show you is if we just do www.tvdsb.ca, so the main board webpage, and we do a slash and put VLLC, it will take you right there. Often, even if you just Google search VLLC, the very first one that pops up often is this one. But those are two sort of easy ways to remember to get in. So when you pop in, what you're kind of looking at is We sort of have an elementary section and a secondary section, and then a section for you as parents and a section for the educators. The elementary and secondary are very similar in the pieces they have, just the content is more specific to those grades. So if we jump into elementary to begin, the first place we pop into is read. And here we have an opportunity to reach into the school, the student's home school for actual books, and I'll show that in a moment. A whole piece about digital citizenship, and you'll see this on, if we pop in, you'll see that there's a primary, a junior, intermediate, senior, and all of these sort of have resources, some videos, some activities specific to that grade. And you'll notice even this infographic changes kind of to suit that grade. So this may be an area you may want to pop into with your student or on your own, just to sort of get some resources around that whole digital citizenship piece, which is becoming very important as we're online more. As we scroll down, information about the Forest of Reading, London Public Library, and then down here are a variety of free resources that we've just sort of collected that you may want to pop out to. So Teacher Wants to Read is a great sort of phonics activity for kindergarten. Storyline Online is actually famous actors and actresses reading really cool stories. That one's a really fun one to do with your kids. Epic is a resource that a lot of teachers are using. The free version is only available during school hours, not in the evenings, which is a bit disappointing. But all of these resources have free aspects, and you can pop into. We even have a variety of French links, because sometimes it's really hard to get really good online French material. So we even have a selection there. So before we pop out into the other part, I just want to show this. So if you, at any time, your student can pop on and put in their homeschool. So say, for instance, they were at Arthur Ford. And when they click on that, it actually links them into the library system, the Insignia system. And I've actually already signed it in, so I'm going to pop over to this tab. My head had it logged in, but I will do that again. This is just sort of a, so we've got Olive Twist account. This is just sort of a demo one to show you. But really, your student would pop in and they would do that same thing. They would click there on log in. Oh, I should have done this before I moved on. The place I logged in is not where they log in. Right over in the middle was the link that they would actually click to log in. Sorry, I went too fast past that. Actually, let's see if it'll let me, because that is kind of important to see. So really, they want to be coming here to the sign in using Office SSO, that's single sign on. That's where your students will be going in. Just for this demo, I need to go in, unfortunately, the other way. So kind of disregard what I'm doing over here. You want to be going in this way. And once they log in, same thing, their name will pop up here. Here it will actually save their home school. And maybe they really like Dogman. That's a great graphic novel. And when they do that, it'll start to list all the Dogman. So here we can see that we have Dogman. At this point, there is not a book available. It is out, but we still have the option to reserve it. So if I click reserve, there's one reserve placed on this title. Do you want to reserve it? Yes. Hold is placed on Dogman. So even though you are doing full remote learning at home, your student should still have access to really good text and books. So you can still be signing up books from your home school. And this would just be the point where you would get in touch with either the teacher librarian or the main office, and they can figure out how you're going to sort of do that trade-off of the books in a safe way. But we still want students at home having access to real materials. And that's really the main piece here. So then they could search another book, they can put on a reserve. So sort of popping back out to the VLLC, the next place that we get to is research. And this is where we see a variety of databases that either the ministry or the board has paid for. And these are databases where students can go and get a lot of information. So if we think about when we were students and we went and used the encyclopedia in the school library, this is an online version of it. And Britannica School is fantastic. I've yet to come across a topic to put in that they do not have some material, and they actually level it for our younger users, our middle school users, and our senior users based on how much text they're giving, photos, things like that. Some families may already be familiar with PebbleGo. It's a fantastic resource Lots of great vivid pictures, all about animals, science, social studies, all kinds of great material there. Culturegrams is another one that's all about the different countries in the world. Again, every country is there. You wouldn't be able to find a country that wasn't there, and it's going to tell you all kinds of interesting facts about them, show them where they are, different things like that. The one glitch here in research is if you click, it's going to ask you to log in because you're at home. When the students are in school and they click to go in, it just takes them automatically in because it's able to see by the IP address that they're in a school. So what I really want to sort of push to you guys today is don't actually come in through the research one, jump over here to passwords. And when you do, it's going to ask you to it's going to ask you for a password. Now you have information about makerspace activities and collaborating and presenting. So there's a variety of information in here too. And then for the parent section, this is sort of just giving a variety of information for you, the links that you may want to look into and follow up with. So that's there for you as well. And there's no password for your one. So that's sort of what I want to show you with the VLLC. The other piece we want to show you is, if you're anything like me, you're probably a bit overwhelmed with all the information that has been put out today. And we just sort of want to show you some places where you can go and sort of recap on some of this information. So again, we're going right back to that board website. And when you scroll down, the fourth tab along is technology and software support, which kind of makes sense about our topic today. So as we get in there, so right away, here's the link talking about where we are right today. So they link that right there. If you are using a board device, so not a personal one, but you've gotten a board device and you're having issues, here is a link that you can go, and they're going to give different troubleshooting options and links to help, whether that is with a Chromebook or an iPad. And then sort of continuing on, we have a bunch of different topics. So parent portal, Google accounts, school messenger, here's Brightspace, accessing the virtual library learning commons where we just were, there's that website, how to get access to TVDSB desktops, to do schoolwork, and the help desk. So when you click on one of these, it will drop down a variety of options. So if you need to get into the parent portal, fill out those first of the year forms and things like that, here are some resources talking about getting into the parent portal. If you're having issues with a Google account, how do I log into my Google account? I forgot my username and password. Parent guide. So this is a parent guide all about Google Classroom, which was more relevant last year for some of our students. And then information on school messenger. And then we have our Brightspace one. So how to access Brightspace, how to get logged in, accessing the course, Brightspace Portfolio. So a lot of the pieces Dee and Emily just walked us through. And then the main one I really want to highlight for you is this parent and guardian guide. So when we click here, this is a guide that we did up last year all about Brightspace and accessing it. So the other piece too is we had it translated into Arabic, Chinese, Korean, and Spanish. When we open that guide, it is going to walk you through all sorts of different pieces that you might want, that you will be doing with your students. So whether that is, let's see, getting logged into Brightspace on the web as a student, logging into the Portfolio app as a student, and any of these. So if we click here, similar to what Dee just did, it's going to pop us right down to that part. It has images showing you exactly how to walk through those pieces. And anytime we had a video, it's linked here as well. So it'll walk you through. So this is a resource you may want to go to as soon as we finish here and download, because it will answer a lot of your questions, especially some of the questions that have been popping up in the chat. Yeah, so we just really want to highlight that resource. We wanted to highlight the school webpage, the board webpage, to get some resources. And then the last piece, because there's often questions about, does Brightspace have an app? And Brightspace, the company, D2L, chose not to do an app. They chose to just make their web, basically to make their platform accessible on all web items. So you can access Brightspace on a phone, on a tablet, on a computer, on a Chromebook. It doesn't matter. They have made it so that it works through a web browser. And as Emily said, Chrome really is the one that it works the best with. But there are two apps that you may be downloading. One is the Portfolio app that Dee talked about and walked you guys through, which is where you can take a photo and record audio and type things out and load that up. That's Portfolio. The other one is Pulse. And Pulse is really just, in a way to get alerts about what's happening in Brightspace. So it'll just sort of alert you that something has been posted in the assignments or something has been posted on the announcements. So it's kind of a way to get some alerts. But once you go into that alert, if you try to go into it, it'll link you out into that Chrome browser and then put you into Brightspace. So it's not a place to actually work, but it is a place to get information. So those are sort of the two key apps, Pulse and Portfolio. So that sort of wraps up the pieces I wanted to show you guys, and I'm going to pass back to Graham, and we're going to get ready for the Q&A.
All right. There we go. Okay. So we're not finished here yet. Just don't mind the screen there. It's saying thank you for loading, but we're here to open up for some questions and answers live as we go. And we do apologize if we don't get to your questions today during the session. We have, again, over 550 participants here and many hundreds and hundreds of questions. So we will try our best to answer sort of main concerns live while we have you here with us. And then we will also try to post questions and answers in an FAQ format after the session to come later this week or when we're able to compile it for you all together. You'll have notification with that too. So without further ado, I'll get to some questions here. First question, I believe, is going to Dee Kerwin. Is Brightspace the main platform for teaching rather than Google Meet? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. So Brightspace and Google Meet actually work together. As Melanie Stanley mentioned earlier on in the meeting, we have a synchronous and an asynchronous portion. So a lot of the asynchronous material can be posted for students to access and work away at. And then the Google Meet is the synchronous portion where students are meeting, working together, engaging with their teacher, and having that interactive experience in that live meeting. So both have different roles, but are two tools that work really seamlessly together in terms of the virtual learning.
Thanks so much. I have one here for Sheila, our superintendent. Sheila, is using Brightspace not mandatory? My son's teacher uses Google Classroom and Google Meet. How can I monitor that?
Thanks so much for that question. We have asked all of our teachers to use Brightspace as their digital platform. So if you do have concerns about that, please do reach out to both your teacher and your full remote learning administrator. All of our teachers will be using Google Meet inside Brightspace as the way of live streaming and teaching the live component. But that should be done within Brightspace now that we're up and running for that use of Google Meet. So if you do have concerns, please, as I said, do reach out to your teacher and the principal of your full remote learning program, as we do want all of our full remote learning programs working through Brightspace for a consistent experience for our students and our families, and to ensure that we can provide the best possible support through the use of one platform.
Thanks so much, Sheila. And just to go to another question that would be best answered by superintendent as well, I have you here. If you have trouble logging into Google Meet and parents are concerned about attendance records for technical issues, how can they have that resolved?
Please do reach out if you have technical issues and your child is late to class or unable to log in. Reach out to your teacher via email. You can also certainly leave a message with School Messenger for attendance about the concern, or you can absolutely email your school, full remote school, and explain the concern. Our teachers and our secretarial staff can change attendance if needed, if we know that you had trouble logging in and technical difficulties were the reason for that. So please do let us know so that we can change that record and so that we can also help to address concerns moving forward.
Perfect. Thanks so much again, Sheila. there was a question about a waiting room for Google Meet for parents that have multiple students or multiple children at home for full remote learning, and some of them may overlap with time, especially with the elementary timetable being so similar. This feature does not exist in Google Meet currently, so not much that we can do about that in a school board type setting. What we do recommend is that if they are younger of age, maybe perhaps typing in the unique nickname ahead of time for your students in the meeting code box on Google Meet, whether that's on mobile or on the Chrome browser, and letting them know what time it starts, and they're able to just click and join, sort of preventing you from running from one room to another, trying to get your students on all at the same time. All right, let's go to the next ones here as well. So question here, is Classroom only active during school time? How does my son catch up with classwork as he wasn't able to join or log in, since the school time started, as he's new to TVSP and didn't receive the login credentials until yesterday? I believe, Andrew, can you handle this question for us?
Absolutely. So Brightspace is available all the time. And an even example of that is when I taught a high school Here I Come math course in the start of the summer, students were signing in at all kinds of times during the day to do that work. So really, once the information is posted, students can be logging in at a time that works for them. Again, later on, if they want to go back or catch up on pieces, there is no time that it shuts down. It's really just the Google Meets are sort of happening at those set times, but Brightspace is always available.
Thanks so much, Andrew. There's a question here about Google Meet again, in terms of being able to change or blur a background, which is popular in many other video conferencing platforms, as you've seen throughout the pandemic here so far the last 6 months. This is a planned feature being rolled out to Google Meet. There are many updates coming this fall in the next 1, 2, maybe even 3 months at most that will sort of change the platform for the better. And we will be sure to share this information far and wide with colleagues, with staff, with students and parents as soon as we know it's available for you. Just looking again down the list here as well. Let's see. Okay, this is a common issue that we have been experiencing as well on our end, Google Meet again. So it says we can join Google Meets in the morning, but when my son tries to get back on after independent learning at 11, for math, for example, it says we can't join the video call. And we tried the code and it says the meeting call has expired because I'm not being able to get back in. He's being marked absent, so that turns question again. But the bigger issue here is that perhaps your child was removed from a previous meeting after not leaving on their own. This can cause an issue sometimes when a participant is removed from a meeting in Google Meet and the same unique nickname is used again for a future meeting. The organizer, your child's teacher, will be able to re-add them in the next meeting, let's say nickname, by clicking on the People tab and then adding members and finding your child's name. If your teacher needs help with this, your child teacher, please let them reach out to our team. But otherwise, that is an easy fix to a problem that can be quickly resolved. I'm looking through the list here as well. If there's anything that the team has found as well that they'd like to speak to as well before I get to, I please encourage you to do so.
Graham, I'll speak to the one. So there's one that says my son is in grade 11 and would like to know how to reach my son's teacher, as I have no email for them. So in Brightspace, your student is able to email with the teacher, and that teacher is able to respond to them, and it's all done within Brightspace. Emails cannot go out, so it's a way of sort of keeping your student safe with these emails, but they can email the teacher directly in Brightspace and the teacher can respond. That also sort of answers some other questions that had come up about what do we do if we go into a meet and something isn't working, or we've gone to go into a meet and we can't get in, and what about attendance? And again, you can email directly in Brightspace to the teacher, and you can have that communication in there. So yeah, that's your best option.
Andrew, it's Sheila here. If I might jump in, all of our parents should also have the email address for their full remote learning school. So if you are needing to get a hold of a teacher and don't have an email address and have tried what Andrew suggested, certainly reach out to the full remote learning school via email, and we can help connect you as well if you've tried other avenues and that hasn't worked.
Thanks so much, Sheila and Andrew.
I'll jump in, Graham, with a couple answers to questions I'm seeing coming in.
Thanks so much, Dee.
If anyone's having technical difficulties accessing the Brightspace platform, one of our features that we're really proud of about the Brightspace platform is it's all linked to our student information systems. But with that sometimes comes some unique tech challenges. So we are working as a team to support all of that. Please, again, reach out to your teacher, let them know you're having difficulties accessing that platform, and we are triaging those issues as quickly as possible to make sure that your child has access to the learning area. But know that we are aware and that we are working to resolve those. So if you can't access the platform, or if you can get into the platform but maybe just can't access the course, just let your teacher know, and we're working to resolve those very quickly for you. Another question that I'm seeing is coming in about portfolio. So lots of questions about if I have more than one child that's accessing the portfolio. That app you can log in and out of. So perhaps you document learning throughout the day just by taking photos. At the end of the day, you might choose to upload everything for one student, log out, and then upload everything for the other student. You can also upload right on the Chromebook or the laptop or the website version itself, so you don't have to use the app. You can just load photos or load files on that are stored on your device. And then there's a couple questions about portfolio regarding getting in maybe a little bit confusing. And for sure, every time we try something new for the first time, we're not quite sure how to navigate it. Andrew shared a document when he was working through with that parent guide. We have shown you lots of options in there. So whether you're accessing the portfolio app on the web, or if you're accessing the portfolio app as your device, or if you're accessing it using the pass cards, we've shown lots of different ways. There's some really cool features in there. One of them is called Funster, and it's a cute little pink monster, and it's meant for our K-3 students or our K-2 students, and it actually gets the students documenting their own learning. So if they can pick up that device or that tablet, it will walk them through snapping a photo of the work that they're doing, and then actually recording their own reflection and telling the teacher about the work they're doing. So trust that your child will surprise you with how well that they are capturing the learning that they're doing and sharing it with their teacher.
Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate the detail on that answer as well. Question regarding the full remote kindergarten program. Perhaps I can hand it over to Sheila here in a moment, but the question is, my 4-year-old's on the screen quite a lot, approximately 3 hours a day so far, with his or her teacher in class, and this is to be expected. Is this to be expected and to continue because it is concerning to his parents?
Thanks, Graham, and I'm happy to jump in with that one. As our system principal Melanie suggested at the beginning, our synchronous learning time for kindergarten is 180 minutes. That does not, however, mean that a student necessarily needs to be in front of a computer for 180 minutes. That is the time that the teacher is online with kindergarten students available for teaching and support. So we are hoping that teachers will provide opportunities for kindergarten students to step away from the computer, engage in a writing activity, possibly do a quick art task, do some physical activity, possibly with the teacher there with them. So for example, some jumping jacks, some running on the spot, some physical quality daily physical activity, and then come back all together. So there are opportunities to step away from the computer within that teacher supported time and come back. If you do have concerns that it seems to be 180 minutes directly in front of a computer, I would ask that you reach out to the teacher to ask if there's more opportunities for independent practice time within that time. And if that still doesn't resolve the issue, of course, your next avenue would be to reach out to your full remote principal. But please do reach out to your teacher as well, so they are aware of the concern about how much time your child is spending in front of the computer.
Thanks so much, Sheila. I had a question come in for Google Meet as well, which I can handle as well. So there's a question regarding, can my child as a participant in a Google Meet open the same Google Meet meeting on 2 different devices? So for example, on a tablet and on a computer. This is certainly possible. You're able to join a Google Meet with the same account on 2 different devices at the same time. And the advantage here would be if your child is looking to have the meeting on a tablet, for example, while they want learning materials on a Chromebook or a computer device, for example, this would be certainly ideal, because then they're able to have free use of their computer device while also maintaining that synchronous learning connection to a teacher as well. So it certainly is possible. There's no need for extra settings to be turned on or anything like that. It's just a matter of joining once and then joining again. So I hope that answers your question for you. I think this one over to Dee Kerwin here. She'd like to answer the question, teachers aren't using these tools outlined in the session today. Are they also getting training for them?
Yeah, thanks, Graham. So we showed a variety of different tools that the Brightspace platform offers. Teachers will set up their classrooms very differently, so how they navigate the full remote learning experience will be up to them. We just wanted to expose you to many of the things that you might see. Having said that, many of our teachers are working with the program in a different way than they ever have before. And our team is not only supporting the students and the families, but we're also running sessions with the staff and sharing different ideas and ways to navigate the full remote learning. So know that we are also, as new things become available and updates become available, we're sharing those out, supporting our staff, supporting our learners, and supporting our families.
Thanks so much again, Dee. All right, there's a question that came in earlier as well, probably a common issue that we've seen so far since the beginning of September here is, what if my child forgets their password or simply does not know their password? Your best option in this case is to reach out to your child's homeroom teacher directly about this, and then they will be able to connect to either their full remote school administrator or Thames Valley IT support to get this resolved for you on your behalf. Is the best option to do that. Question next is for Andrew. The parent cannot send any email to my children's GoTVSB account. I am not able to send them some information. Do you know how to solve this issue? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, this is not something we can solve. This is something set up for elementary students that is a safety piece. So elementary students are not able to email out from their account, and no one is able to email in. And this really comes from a safety piece for them. These accounts are created that they can email each other, they can email the teacher, they can work together, but there's no concerns of someone from an outside organization reaching into them. And it really is done as a safety piece, so it's not something that would get shifted. But it kind of to give you the understanding of why that choice has been made.
Thanks so much, Andrew. There was a question as well about will there be a parent-teacher night over Brightspace so we can discuss our children's progress throughout the term? It's regarding report cards. Sheila, could you give this one for us?
Absolutely. We haven't definitively said whether or not there will be a parent-teacher evening. What we can absolutely say is that we want parents to have a very strong understanding of how their child is doing at school. So what we are asking teachers and parents to do is maintain those open lines of communication. As those parent-teacher conferences, which don't necessarily need to be one night, would be scheduled virtually, we are hoping that that can be done on an individual basis to best accommodate parent schedules and teacher schedules and to be reflecting of emerging needs of students as they go through. Please do reach out to your child if you feel that you need a meeting to understand progress so that that can be supported in full remote learning.
Thanks so much again, Sheila. A question came in as well. Google Meet again is certainly a proper topic tonight, and we are here to support you with it. How does my child's teacher make Google Meet secure for my child? So there are two ways that Google Meet is made secure for your child. One is that our G Suite domain, like the Google domain that we have, the @gotvdsb.ca domain, only allows communication from within the domain for elementary students. And even with things like Google Meet, that is only for all participants and all members of GoTVDSB. So there are no outside third parties able to join Google meetings in the @gotvdsb.ca domain. The second security feature that maintains that safe environment for your child is that unique nickname. So once a meeting organizer, your child's teacher, creates that unique nickname and starts a meeting, that ensures that only the students who are aware of that nickname in your child's class are able to join that meeting. And once all students have left the meeting during that session of synchronous learning, your teacher is the last one to leave, much like an actual classroom, and then they are able to close that meeting and prevent students from rejoining unsupervised, which is always an ideal situation so that students are always supervised during their online interactions. All right, just looking for a few more questions here as well.
Graham, there are some questions coming in about School Messenger.
Okay.
Again, reach out to your classroom teacher in terms of whether School Messenger will be used, how to join the groups. Again, that's an individual educator's choice as to how they communicate on an ongoing basis with families.
Thanks so much. Just want to reiterate that as well. And that there were issues with School Messenger as well with populating form teacher groups with parents and that sort of thing in the back end of things, but they were resolved as of last Friday at around 4 p.m. hopefully. So please reach out to, again, your child's teacher or principal or even administrative secretary to find out if you have any issues with Google School Messenger. They can resolve them for you, point you in the right direction. Absolutely. All right, and then I think, Andrew, one more question for you as well would be, what are those passwords again for the wonderful virtual library learning commons so people can remember?
Absolutely. So the two passwords are, so they're both welcome VLLC. And then remember that if it's elementary, there's an E on the end. So welcome VLLC E, all lowercase, no spaces. And then welcome VLLC S for secondary, again, lowercase, no spaces. And if you want to access it, you're just doing tvdsb.ca/VLLC.
All right, thanks so much. And that will wrap us up for the evening. Thank you so much for your participation in this as well. And we regret if we are unable to answer your question live during the session today. And we will work to get a frequently asked question framework posted on the Tensai website in the near future. And we will be sure to let you know about that as well. I'm going to turn things over to our Superintendent Sheila Powell to give our closing remarks.
Thanks so much, Graham. I do have a number of thank yous this evening. First of all, to our parents and our participants. We truly appreciate your patience and support as we build this full remote learning program together. This is new for all of us in this context, and there have been lots of challenges, and we know that you are truly appreciative based on all of your emails of our efforts. Please do continue to provide us feedback. Our goal is to make this the best possible learning experience for your children, and we absolutely cannot do that without your support and your feedback. To our full remote learning teachers and administrators who are here this evening, and for those who are working every day with your children, please know that we truly appreciate your willingness to take on this new challenge. It's been an incredible amount of work, and we know it will continue to be. And we thank you for your problem solving, your patience, and your creativity in our work with full remote learning. To our presenters and to our assistant principal, Melanie Stanley, and our learning coordinators in particularly, who have provided ongoing support for our teachers and will continue to provide professional learning. Thank you for your work tonight with this presentation, but for your work every day in making this possible for our teachers. For our information technology team, we have a large team behind the scenes who answer our Help Hub questions, who answer the phones when you have challenges, who make sure that full remote learning devices are available for students, who troubleshoot everything that we possibly ask them to do. Thank you. Specifically this evening, joining us are Rob Camphius, Jim Babier, and Afiz Ajibu, who really have made sure that this presentation has run smoothly, and we truly thank you for all of your support. We do encourage all of you to continue to keep those communication lines open. Your first way to get answers is, of course, your full remote learning teachers. They are learning this platform, as are you, and may not have all of the features enabled yet, but are certainly working as best they can to support your children in Brightspace. And for our administrators and homeschool principals, those are your contacts as well. We deeply want you connected to your homeschool, and we want you connected to your full remote learning principal as well. We are all here to support you, and that is so important to us. We do wish you a good evening, and we look forward to our continued collaboration and work with your children and with all of our families throughout the school year. Thanks so much for joining us.